So guys, welcome back to another video. Now today we're going to be taking a look at the heroic Sylvanas fight, killed by myself and the raid team of KCC and Chess Club. Big thank you to them for getting me this kill and allowing me to record it, as well as a few of their wipes as well, just fair to. I think this fight is very difficult. There's a lot of things, not a lot of things, but there are some very important standout things that make this fight very difficult, mainly in terms of the incoming damage that comes in. So having the right balance of healers and DPS is very important when coming to this fight. We did go with 4, but I think we maybe could have done it with 3. I was talking to one of the healers after the fight, so she said that they could have done it with 3, but that's something that your raid is going to have to figure out. My guild raid has not killed this yet. We have just done 1 night of progress on Sylvanas. We did get pretty good. We did get pretty far, which I was quite happy with. So we're still a bit away from getting our kill. So I wanted to go through the fight and see where some potential problems and mistakes that people make, including myself, and maybe it's just some different approaches that you could take coming into the fight. So we're just going to start the video. It's going to be a long video, so there might be parts where I'm not really talking, just sort of letting the footage play out. Like right now. I think with the pre-pots, you don't really want to use your pre-pot on the pool. I think this has been stated by my guild, is that the first pot you want to use is when you're able to damage Sylvanas for the first time during the bridge phase. So bloodlusting off the bat, because we can do it again on the 3rd platform in the last phase.
Myself, myth.
There's not much going on here. The main difference is that you're going to have normal compared to heroic is that the chain that you are fixated onto will one-shot you if you get too close to it. You will not get one-shot by going into other players' arrows. It's just your one. So that's something I was very curious about and didn't want to really test myself. But after I figured there's a purple circle around your arrow. So it is just your arrow that you die from if you get too close. And then the other thing, I can't remember if this is on normal as well, but I think the tank gets a arrow on them, which he just needs to run away from the group. Why I went that way instead of the other way is beyond me. I was just running. As you can tell, I am the highest DPS in my guild, but with this guild I am the lowest because these guys have been farming Sylvanas many times before this. They were just cycling people through AOTC. I'm very fortunate. I was able to get it. So the raid leaders asked me if I wanted to come along, see how the fight goes. And get AOTC, which is very important. I think this is very cool that I got the recording. I wouldn't even care if I didn't get AOTC. I just wanted to see how the fight is and how it could potentially help Michael with the fight.
Myself. It's Lobo Pickle.
Now, in regard to the arrows, if you are called, like if you're called to get near a chain, then you should do so immediately. As you can see, actually let me just go back and pause it right there. So there's 2 sets of circles that come out. There's like sort of a light purple, which are just arrows that just deal damage, and then these dark purple circles which will actually spawn the arrows. So you can sort of move yourself into position beforehand. So if you have 2 or more stacks, get to an arrow. If you have 1 stack or none, then get the fuck away from them, because the last thing you'll want is someone with no stacks getting an arrow on them, getting chained, and then you're stuck there with 2 stacks, and then eventually later on getting 4 stacks, which does happen. So if you need to remove your stacks, then get near an arrow. If you don't, then get the fuck away from them. I cannot stress that enough. So the intermission is going to happen at 84%. You'll just want to blast your cooldowns whenever they come back up, unless the boss is at like 86 or 85%, because she'll go immune for that time. Also, as an important note, if you're a hunter, like especially if you're a BM hunter, the best thing you'll want to do is that you want to kill your own arrow and then help other people with their arrow, because BM hunters can obviously still DPS on the move. I don't know why that is.
Attention!
And it just makes it safe for everyone.
Oh, yeah.
Let me just go back. There was a certain point. I got chained. I was very close to getting one shot there, and then a rive comes in. So I wasn't sure which way to go. So I ended up going over here, which was pretty clutch. But luckily enough people came along and killed my arrow to get me out. So appreciate that.
Attention!
People say they want to avoid standing in the middle.
Oh yeah.
You don't have to do that as long as you can avoid everything. It's not really a big deal if you are in the middle. Let me turn the audio down a bit.
Twice to it.
No.
And then of course you want to spread for this anti-whale. And then we're going to go into the bridge phase, which is arguably the most difficult part of the fight. Sorry. So what's different here is that you're going to get two different mini bosses, sort of lieutenants. And then there's a Goliath, there's a Soul Judge, and a Summoner. So you get two of them rather than one. So you're going to have to prioritize one ad over the other, but they are set. So the same two ads always spawn.
You willingly chose to
every
leave on
time.
my ass, knowing what you were getting into.
And as a Night Fae, you want to sort of make very good use and figure out what time is best to use your soul shape. It's a bit less prevalent for Venthia. But in this part of the phase, you don't want to fall behind, because you can easily fall behind, not just in terms of damage, but in terms of movement. So you could be miles behind Sylvanas, and she could cast a Ruin, which is just a flat out wipe. So that stuff can happen. So I try not to use a soul shape. I think I did, but in reality, I would like to have saved that for probably literally any other bridge. So one thing we did here, actually, let me just pause this. We're just going to take a bit. So this is one thing I majorly fucked up on. So Arabian has said that, and this is something that happens in every guild. My guild doesn't do this. But as you can see, to the right, all of the range are standing in a line. Now what's going on here is that they're baiting the darkness, the Veil of Darkness circles, to all spawn on that side. So they're either going to be on that side, or they're going to be in melee. So the melee are going to have room to run down and avoid the circles, because all the range circles are going to be on this side. We are not doing that in my guild. We are all just stacking up on Sylvanas and they're just running out of it. I don't think that's really the best strategy, because multiple times I got clipped by the Veil of Darkness just running away from Sylvanas. That is before I realised you could just run off to the side and just minimise your running. So that does make it viable. I do think this strat is better, but whatever. So we've got the first darkness coming up. The darkness debuff is a little bit interesting, because if you get hit by it, it can spread to other people if you're nearby them. But in doing so, you're like splitting, you're sharing the healing absorb debuffs. So you get a certain amount of stacks if you get hit by the Veil of Darkness. And then one stack is removed once it spreads to someone else, which can make it a little bit easier or harder depending on your healing comp. So if you do end up spreading it because you have a lot of like AoE healers, like I don't know, Holy Priests, or I don't know, Restored Druids, I suppose, compared to single target healers like Holy Balance and Mystery Phalanx. That's just something you're going to have to sort of figure out yourself. See, again, I did not stack with the range. I just forgot every single time. So I think this is the first set of ads. Okay, yeah, so we had a Soul Judge and a Goliath. The Soul Judge you do want to attack first above the Goliath. The Goliath has like no reason to die, but it still has to die. Because if the Goliath is up for too long, then Sylvanas will cast Ruin, and you'll have no bridge to run across, and that's a wipe. Which is a bit unfortunate, but that is something you'll have to do. It's the first big damage requirement. So the second set of ads is a Summoner and a Goliath. The Summoner has the priority here instead of the Goliath because it summons those Hopebreaker ads, which are just annoying. And then of course the Goliath. I think, do we start? Or if you're not doing it, you want to be moving the Goliath closer to the part where the bridge is was, so you can see some of the range at the back are already positioned over there, so they're ready to run across the bridge. And I think at one point, this doesn't happen on the kill, but this can happen. A bridge will spawn, and then you'll get a whale, which can very slow you down. If that's the case, still keep running, even though you have the whale. Just make sure you are not like overlapping people, because that is very dangerous. Third set of ads is very difficult because you have a Soul Judge and a Summoner, which are both very important ads. We decided to burn down the Soul Judge first because those debuffs really fucking hurt, and we had a lot of AoE DPS. No, wait, we had 2 Demon Hunters and then a lot of Hunters using Stomp. So that kind of carried it. But in my guild we're focusing the Summoner, just because of our sort of lack of AoE. But that's not bad, you could do it either way. I still think the burning down the Soul Judge is safer, because you're removing those debuffs by killing the Soul Judge first. And ads aren't really a big deal in this part. So we're getting a second burn phase on Sylvanas. She's going to transition to the next phase soon. I think it's at 75%. Getting a whale, make sure that we're spread. And an important thing as well, the veil always comes right before a whale. So you want to stack in a lot, or stay in a line. And then after Veil Darkness goes off, then you want to immediately spread, because there'll be a whale coming soon. Okay, so in the last phase, this is where you want to just burn, but the mechanics are still very, very important, because you're going to get the arrows, which are a pain in the ass to deal with. And of course the Banshee's Fury. I'll talk about Banshee's Fury in a second. But, okay, so how we deal with arrows. So we have everyone with arrows stack on here, and then they jump over at the last second, because if a ranged person gets an arrow, they can still do damage to Sylvanas before they jump platforms. So that is something you would want to bear in mind if you have like range heavy comps like my guild does. As you see, one of our demon hunters are collecting the purple puddles from the other platforms just to make room for us. And this is also very important as well. Right before Sylvanas disappears, or maybe a few seconds after Sylvanas disappears, you want to be pre-spread because of the darkness. Then when she disappears, you'll ideally want everyone spread and not moving at all, because you don't really want extra people clipped by the veil, which does make healing a little intense. So we get the first arrow, the second arrow, and then the third one. So we're going to have Nocti jumping over first. He was the first one to get it. Then it was NZ, I believe, or it might have been Bloif. Yeah, I think it was Bloif that got it second, and then NZ going on as well. So they were just hopping over one at a time without blowing us up, which is great. Second platform. Okay, so yeah, Banshee's Scream is very dangerous. Oh no, it's not. It's not that, but eventually she does an ability where she just bursts a whole lot of
Don't get in the purple crap.
AoE damage onto everyone. I think Pickle died because we weren't spread. Not being spread can easily wipe you very, 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 very easily. Okay, Banshee's Fury. That's the one you want to like stack and use healing gauntlet and whatnot and AMZs. AMZs are amazing. So I get the arrows. So at the time I was very scared because I'm still not quite sure how to deal with that arrow correctly. But then I realized people were hopping over one at a time, and then the raid leader after the raid was saying people jump over at the last second to put in a little more DPS. So I think what if oh no, that's Vivian, I think. Yeah, Vivian goes across to okay, so yeah, I get over. Now I'm not sure really what happened here. Burst of damage carried to the raids. I had to replay this part I think 5 times to figure out what it was, because on the kill I thought it was me, but I reached the platform with 1 second left on my debuff, so I realized it couldn't have been me. It might have been someone else coming over a bit too early with their arrow. Didn't kill you. Oh, I think it did kill Pickle because of that. So yeah, not really sure what happened. Okay, so whale. Oh, I think it's called Banshee's Scream at this point.
Do so as well. You'll have to get myth then.
So we're just making sure we're spread.
Raise.
And if you are spreading, just get the fuck away from your Resto Druid, because they're most likely going to be tranking at that point, and you don't really want to make a Resto Druid move during trank. So I think this is where our hero comes back up, we're just blasting the boss.
Harley used to get 4 stacks.
Yeah, I've run through a whole bunch of people.
We're getting another set of arrows. Now this is really bad because there's lots of puddles all over the place, but I think Myth is starting to collect them now. Ideally these pools will want to be collected as soon as possible, just to give people more room to spread for the Darkness cast and the Whale cast. So I don't know what, not sure where, oh he must have died a while ago. Okay, I'm not sure how he died. It might have been to the burst of damage earlier on.
Not myth. I'm on.
So there are people coming back. There's a huge puddle. That really isn't ideal. But maybe me, I go and stack in a nice little corner away from everyone to give more room for other people to stack.
Spread now. Go ahead.
They'll come again. I go to that same spot. A puddle spawns right under my face, and I was like a millisecond too slow from avoiding it. And I picked it up again, and then got to spell it again, then I got out of it quick enough. So going over to the last phase. Last phase is just make or break. So you'll want the arrow people to go on this marker, or on at least on one side of the last platform, and then you want everyone else to be on the other side, just to minimize the damage, because the arrows do fall off damage. So that is something to bear in mind. Otherwise you just want to push, push, push. You still want to do the mechanics, you still want to get arrows out of the raid, you still want to get pulls out of the raid. And healers just want to make sure that they're keeping everyone topped. Now I think something goes wrong here, because first off, a lot of people, these people here did not spread for the whale, and I think we're going to get a darkness where we are not spread, and that clips a lot of people. It's going to happen right after this Fury, I believe. Nice spirit link from Pickle. Yeah, it's right here. So see, the veil is coming in. We were not spread, but I think we were so close to the kill, we didn't end up bothering it. But if the boss had a few more percent, then that could have been really dangerous. We had 3 people dead already. So yeah, that's just something to bear in mind. I think it clipped 5 people or 6 people. Oh, that's really bad. But the healers did manage to bring it back. At this moment, we just spread the debuffs with everyone, and then we sort of heal through it. Get another set of arrows, but then the boss dies before that even becomes a problem.
You guys always win when I die.
To be fair, there's usually a lot of people there.
There's usually a lot.
So yeah, that is the fight. It's just all about paying attention, not falling off the bridge.
This way, try to do it
We had a lot of we had a few wipes to people falling off the bridge, but that is bound to happen. This fight really needs you to have a lot of practice with every single phase and with every single checkpoint, I suppose, in terms of the sets of ads that you encounter, especially the summoner and the soul judge set at the same time, because that can be very sketchy, and as well as all of the platforms need a lot of practice. And there's something you need to figure out the different strategies you might want to use. So, like, do you want to send someone off to the other platforms just to collect debuffs? Do you not want to bother with that? So yeah, those are just some things to bear in mind. So that is the fight. Pretty long. What was it? 14. Yeah, it was like 14 minutes. So you definitely do want to make sure that you are utilizing the double bloodlust at the start, and then again whenever it comes back up, just maximizing that damage, because Sylvanas does have a huge HP pool. So you just really need people to push through and get this thing done. So that's the fight. It's a good fight, I suppose. It's definitely better than like Fate Scribe, Remnant and Nizzle. Like, those bosses are really kind of annoying. This one is annoying because if you wipe in phase 3, you have to do the fight all over again, just like Jaina, Gahoon to some sort of extent, N'Zoth, although N'Zoth wasn't as painful as fucking Jaina. Oh my god. But yeah, that's fine. I hope this helps for people who are still progressing on Jaina or on Sylvanas, or people who might are working on getting a rekill on Sylvanas. So that's all from me. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.